Welcome back to 404, Purpose Not Found, the podcast where productivity plans go to die. Today, we're tackling a familiar scenario. Standing in a bookstore, eyes drawn to a pristine notebook with a matte cover, and feeling convinced this is the tool that will transform your life. Why are we so drawn to these untouched objects?
That new notebook radiates possibility. It's like main character energy in physical form. You tell yourself, this is the one. My novel, my business plan, my breakthrough starts here. But so often, that perfect notebook just ends up on a shelf, silently judging, or worse, serving as a glorified coaster.
Exactly. It's as if the notebook itself whispers promises you're going to do things, big things. But the reality? More often than not, it collects dust, becoming a symbol of ambitions deferred rather than achieved.
And somehow, every time you walk past that shelf, it's like your blank notebooks are quietly holding an intervention, asking why you haven't started yet. It's a little bit aspirational, a little bit guilt-inducing, and entirely universal.
Let's talk about the psychology behind this. We don't buy notebooks for who we are today, we buy them for future me. Future me is organized, journals daily, reflects deeply, and never wastes hours scrolling on X. The blank pages represent that ideal version of ourselves.
Absolutely! In my head, future me is bullet journaling with perfect handwriting, sipping hot tea, and planning out every goal. But the reality is, current me is intimidated by page 1. It has to be perfect, or it's not worth starting.
That page 1 paralysis is so real. The fear of messing up the very first page stops us cold, and the notebook stays untouched. We want to live up to the imagined productivity, but confronting the blank page can be daunting.
It's like we're waiting for the right moment or the right project, something worthy of that immaculate first page. But, more often than not, that moment never comes, and the notebook remains a hopeful artifact of future ambition.
Maybe there's something meaningful in leaving a notebook blank. The empty page can be a metaphor for potential a silent promise that someday, maybe, we'll rise to meet it. Does that potential give value even if we never fill the pages?
Or maybe, honestly, it's just a 12 gilt object sitting on your desk. But even then, that hope you felt when you bought it, that fleeting optimism might be worth the price. Notebooks can be tiny tokens of self-belief, even if they never see a word.
Right. Even if you only ever write one line, something like, "Why do I never write anything?" that act alone can be meaningful. It's okay for potential to exist without immediate fulfillment. The notebook doesn't have to become a finished novel to matter.
And maybe, just maybe, forgiving ourselves for blank pages is part of the process. If that unwritten notebook gave you hope, even for a second, it's done something valuable. After all, sometimes the possibility is enough.
That brings us to the end of today's episode of 404, Purpose Not Found. If you're listening with a stack of blank notebooks and a heart full of intentions, you're definitely in good company. We've all been there.
Exactly. Welcome to the club. There's something comforting in knowing you're not alone in collecting the tools of productivity, even if you never quite use them as planned. Maybe the act of acquiring a notebook is its own little ritual of hope.
And hey, if you feel inspired, maybe write our podcast name on page 1. But if you don't, that's okay too. We totally understand the hesitation. The important thing is you're here, listening, and that's a step toward that future self.
See you next time, when we ask another existential question. Why do I keep reinstalling that one productivity app? Until then, let your notebooks be as blank or as messy as you want. They're yours.